I suspected my wife might be planning a divorce, so I moved my assets. 2 weeks later, she filed, then backtracked when her plan didn't work out. Hello, everyone. Before we dive into today's story, I need your help. We've noticed the channel losing traction, and subscribing is one of the easiest ways to support us. It's quick, free, and helps us keep creating great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep growing this channel together. Thank you so much. Now, let's get started. Hello, everyone. I've been reading posts here for a while, never expecting I'd have a story of my own to share. Life, however, has a way of surprising you, and I've been carrying this for months. I need to share it. To be clear, I'm not someone who jumps to conclusions or assumes the worst. My wife, let's call her M, and I had been together for 6 years, married for 4. Things were solid, or so I thought. We went through normal ups and downs, nothing that made me worry. For most of our relationship, we were that couple, fully committed, playful, and in sync. We laughed at silly inside jokes, debated endlessly about which movie to watch, and had a rhythm that worked. She organized thoughtful date nights, and I treated her to her favorite takeout after long days. It felt effortless, like we'd figured out how to love each other. That's why what happened next hit me like a ton of bricks. The shift, about 6 months ago, things started to change. At first it was minor details, things easy to miss unless you were paying attention. She started carrying her phone everywhere, even for short trips around the house. Before this, it would stay on the coffee table for hours without concern. One day I joked, "Running a secret spy ring now?" She laughed and said, "Work emails have been crazy." A few days later, she set a password on her phone. That surprised me. It was new. When I asked why, she mentioned security concerns. I didn't push it, trying not to seem paranoid, but it felt off. It didn't stop there. She started taking calls in another room, something she had never done. Her phone would ring, and she'd say, "Just a second," then disappear into the bedroom or outside. If I asked who it was, she'd just say, "A friend from work." Then came the habit of keeping her face down on her phone. I realized it when I reached over to give her something, and she quickly moved it away. Small moments, but they stayed with me. It wasn't just the phone. She began to feel emotionally distant. Conversations that once flowed easily now felt forced. When I brought up future plans, anniversary trips, or saving for a new car, she'd just nod and say, "Yeah, we'll see," before changing the topic. It all clicked for me one Wednesday. She told me she was meeting a friend for coffee. That didn't seem unusual. She met friends sometimes. I happened to be nearby and decided to surprise her. When I arrived, she wasn't with her friend. She was pacing outside the cafe, phone to her ear. I stayed in my car, and what I overheard made my stomach drop. Phrases like, "It's almost ready," and "starting fresh soon." It didn't sound like a work or friend issue. It sounded bigger, planned. Later at home, I asked casually about the coffee. She told me her friend had been complaining about her boyfriend, and added, "I think it's smart to have everything in one place. Account info, passwords, documents, for emergencies." I tried to sound casual. "What kind of emergencies?" She shrugged. "Just in case something happens, or we need to make a big financial decision." It made surface-level sense, but something about the way she said it felt rehearsed, too polished. It was like she'd been waiting for the right moment to bring it up. I nodded, murmuring agreement, but my internal alarms were going off. Why now? Why suddenly organize finances when we had always kept them separate? ... A few days later, she brought it up again while I made a sandwich. "Have you thought more about organizing the bank stuff? Do you know where all the account details are?" I set down the knife. "Okay, what's going on?" I asked, keeping my tone calm but firm. "You've been mentioning finances a lot. Something we need to talk about?" She looked up. Surprised, I pressed her. "No, nothing's wrong," she said quickly. I just think it's important. For emergencies. Emergencies like what? I asked. She shrugged, expression unreadable. Life stuff. It's not a big deal. Just something we should get on top of. Her vagueness made me even more suspicious. It didn't feel like a casual suggestion. It felt like concealment. The next day, while she was at work, I checked our joint account. Over the past month, there were small withdrawals, not for bills or groceries, nothing obvious. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but it looked like she had been moving money for some unknown reason. Unsure what to do, I contacted an old college friend who's a lawyer. I explained everything, trying not to sound paranoid. Look, he said, I'm not saying anything is definitely happening, but you're not crazy for wanting to be prepared. If you're concerned about protecting your assets, now is the time. Better safe than sorry. He walked me through simple steps to safeguard my finances. Taking such action felt extreme. It was unsettling, like preparing for something awful. But the more I thought about it, the more necessary it seemed. This wasn't just about money. It was about the life we'd built. Memories of our wedding, late-night talks about dreams, the little jokes we shared, everything I loved about our marriage flashed through my mind. Taking these measures felt like conceding defeat, abandoning trust we'd had for years. Protecting what matters. That evening, while she was out, I sat at my desk. Hands shaking, I logged into all accounts, bank, investments, property deeds. Every paper I examined felt like betrayal. But I kept reminding myself, this was about survival, not sabotage. I called my mother. I need you to hold some things for me. It's just a precaution. She paused, likely sensing something I wasn't saying. Are you okay? She asked, anxious. Yeah, it's just precautionary. I lied. Nothing to worry about. Her voice softened. Of course, sweetheart. Whatever you need. The relief and shame mixed oddly. I hated being in this situation. But having my mother's support gave me steadiness. By the time Em came home, I had already moved the majority of my assets, cash, investments, even the house, into my mother's name. I left enough in the joint account to maintain appearances. She didn't notice. She kissed me and asked about a movie, while inside, I felt like I was falling apart. I felt like I had betrayed her trust. But another part of me felt a strange relief, as if I was finally regaining control over a situation that had spiraled out of my hands. For the next 3 days, I tried to stick to a normal routine. I didn't want her to suspect anything had changed. She seemed satisfied, sometimes even unusually cheerful, but rather than easing my mind, it heightened my suspicion. If she was planning something, she was excellent at hiding it. What caught my attention most was that she never brought up finances again, not even when I asked. It was as if the topic had vanished from her memory. At first, I thought I had overreacted, and she simply dismissed it because it wasn't relevant. But the more I thought, the more I realized she was avoiding it, almost afraid to bring it up again. Whenever I pressed her, I noticed her glancing at me, as if she were gauging my mood or deciding whether to speak. Each time, she quickly returned to her phone, TV, or book. It was subtle, but deliberate. It felt like she was waiting for me to initiate, unwilling to push the issue. That silence only made me more anxious. She never dropped topics she considered important, so her avoidance now seemed intentional. If she was testing me, she wasn't taking the bait. If she was waiting for something, I wasn't going to give it. Whatever her next move, I knew I had to stay one step ahead. Something was coming, but I didn't know when or how. All I could do was prepare. That night, I double-checked everything. I reviewed the paperwork for my mother's asset transfers, the house, savings, investments, all legally secured in her name, sealed in an uncontested trust. I even called to confirm she had the necessary documents. 2 weeks passed, and everything seemed normal. Almost too normal. She started acting more affectionate, even talking about casual topics like dinner plans or jobs. It threw me off because she had been distant for months, avoiding anything beyond superficial conversations. Part of me wondered if I'd been overreacting, attributing her strange behavior to stress or other factors. But then, one random Friday night, she sat me down, turned off the TV, and said, "We need to talk." My stomach sank. I already knew what was coming. "I think we should get a divorce," she said calmly, almost as if she were discussing milk running out rather than the end of our marriage. Her reasoning sounded like a standard breakup script, needing space, rediscovering herself, losing her identity. But then she added something personal. "You know, I've made a lot of sacrifices for you over the years, and I don't think you really appreciate them. I deserve more." That stung. It wasn't just that she wanted out. It was framed as if I owed her, as if everything were my fault and she was simply claiming what she was entitled to. Then a crucial detail emerged. "A friend of mine has been helping me see things more clearly," she said, not looking at me. The way she said it wasn't casual. Someone had been convincing her that leaving me wasn't just a choice, it was a strategy she needed to execute. The more she spoke about deserving more due to her sacrifices, the more I questioned her claim. Sacrifices? I had supported her in countless ways. Career changes, expensive retreats, even vacations I wanted to enjoy myself. I tried to put her happiness first, remembering birthdays, celebrating milestones, listening when she needed to vent. Her "I deserve more" line wasn't about me. It was about her changing perception, influenced by someone else. I didn't respond with anger. I nodded, saying something neutral like, "If that's how you feel, I guess we should figure out next steps." She seemed surprised I didn't argue or beg. My focus had already shifted. I needed to know who was behind this sudden change. She retreated to her apartment. By Monday, the divorce papers arrived. And they weren't just ending our relationship. They were aiming for everything. Half the house, my savings, assets, the car, and vague spousal support clauses, despite her high salary. It was clear someone was guiding her. I started digging. Her social media revealed a pattern: likes and comments from a man named Jake. He didn't seem remarkable, but one post caught my attention. He was at the same cafe she had visited weeks earlier. More subtle signs emerged. A comment saying, "You've got this," and a selfie near her new residence. Nothing conclusive, but suspicious. I reached out to mutual friends, trying to learn more. Lisa and Emily offered little at first, cautious or defensive. But eventually, Emily revealed the truth. My wife had been spending a lot of time with Jake, who was heavily influencing her divorce decisions. This wasn't casual. It was orchestrated. I confronted the situation my way. That Saturday, I observed her and Jake leaving her apartment together. They didn't hold hands, but their closeness was enough. I didn't follow them. By then, I understood she wasn't just leaving me. She had been planning this with someone else. The betrayal burned. But I was prepared. The first mediation session was tense. Her lawyer presented her demands as reasonable. Half the house, my assets, the car, and spousal support. I stayed silent, letting my attorney act. When it was our turn, we presented the paperwork showing all major assets had been legally transferred to a trust under my mother's name weeks before the divorce filing. The room went silent. Her lawyer was shocked. She flipped through the papers, face flushing with disbelief and then rage. "You planned this," she muttered, staring at me. I didn't respond. This wasn't about revenge. It was self-protection. Every document, every date, every notarization left them no room to challenge it. After mediation, she tried to reach me incessantly. Calls, voicemails alternating between sobbing and rage. Friends reported that she told them the divorce was a hoax, but test, or part of a larger plot. Slowly, the truth came out. Text messages between her and Jake revealed deliberate planning. She was trying to secure everything with his guidance. Once the messages circulated among mutual friends, her story collapsed. Even her closest allies distanced themselves. When the divorce finalized, she walked away with only personal items. Jake vanished. I received the house, savings, and something I hadn't felt in a long time: peace of mind. Life felt mine again. No more second-guessing, no more betrayal, just calm. She became a chapter in my history I no longer read, and the rest of my story is mine to write. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay updated with more real-life stories happening around you.